right, if you just joined us, you're still on to Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for today. Prominent Nigerian civil society figures, including Professor Chidi Odinkalu, Professor Adele Jinadu, and Richard Akinola, have raised alarms over what they perceive as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's attempts to establish a one-party state. They argue that recent political developments, such as mass defections from opposition parties to the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), suggest a deliberate strategy to weaken democratic opposition and consolidate power. These leaders emphasize that a vibrant democracy requires a robust and independent opposition. They warn that the erosion of opposition parties undermine democratic checks and balances, potentially leading Nigeria towards authoritarianism. The civil society advocates call on Nigerians to remain vigilant and resist any moves that threaten the country's democratic foundation. The statements come amid the increasing concerns about the state of democracy in Nigeria, with critics pointing to actions by the current administration that may stifle dissent and limit political pluralism. The civil society leaders urge citizens to actively participate in safeguarding democratic principles and ensuring that power remains accountable to the people. I still have with me Barrister Evans Ofeli. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for hanging on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. Truly do appreciate your time once more. Let's get talking on this particular matter. It's very obvious, you would agree with me, that we're moving towards a one-party state capture. But of course, the ruling party are consistently stating that they have no business in state capture or having a one-party state for Nigeria, that rather it is the opposition that is or have refused to do a good enough job putting their acts together. Do you want to agree with this submission from the ruling party?
I agree with what the APC agree with that, because the members of the PDP who are supposed to stand their ground and make a formidable opposition have failed to do that. They have failed to do that, and instead of them to oppose or form a viable opposition, they are rather jumping ship from their political party to the APC. There is no organization under the earth that don't have problems, disputes, and squabbles. There's none. I mean, just like you have disputes in the PDP, the same way you have it in the APC. Okay, the reason that of the APC is not very glaring is because they are in power right now. Okay, but when they were in opposition, they actually formed a formidable opposition. It was that opposition they used to weaken, the party in power, then the PDP. Today, the PDP has presently constituted. Could you believe that they were in power for 16 years? That they held sway for 16 years. They even boasted that they will be there for 60 years. But the way they have degenerated today, the way they have turned themselves against themselves, will you believe that, some years back, they were actually in power? So they are right, the APC, they are right. It is not that the president is pushing for state capture or is pushing Nigeria to a situation of a one-party state. No. It is that the parties in opposition, not just PDP now, the parties, all of them, Labour Party, all those parties in opposition, all of them, put together, they have failed to do the work of the opposition. Okay? When PDP newly lost election at the center in 2015, when they started as opposition, they had good hands in the opposition then. They had, what's his name, this lawyer, and that was charged with Dasuki sometime.
Okay.
Yes. He was, the spokesman of the party.
Yes.
Then you now have Olagodia, this other man who became the spokesperson of the party again, ever since the existence of those two, the PDP have lost, the capacity suddenly to hold the government in power to account. They've left it for journalists and the general public. So the journalists and the public, there's little they can do to hold the government in power accountable for you. You as a political party that is organized and regimented, with structure, with office and all that, should have handled your own crisis. Quell it, resolve it, and then face the opposition, swell it, just like they did when you were in power. Lai Mohammed was used there with different kind of propaganda that almost, crumbled the PDP midway into the administration then. That is what we expect from the PDP. But unfortunately, many of their governors that have stolen money, many of their governors that are corrupt, that have used corrupt tendencies to embezzle a lot of money, have handed over to their godson, like Okowa. Like Okowa that embezzled 1.3 trillion. 1.3 trillion is what he embezzled by joining forces with Atiku to change a white elephant useless political project that crumbled upon them, and they were not able to have the head. You can imagine spending, if not for foolishness, you can imagine spending 1.3 trillion to follow Atiku that have no political capital. How do you do that kind of mistake? Are you the only one in the state? If you are even spending that money to join forces with someone that resonates in the minds of people, politically speaking, you are doing that with Atiku to mortgage the future of Delta State. That shows how wicked, how insensitive our leaders are. Someone like Okowa who could not provide the necessaries for Ndokwa